Okay, I want you to think about something for a second. What if you could send a message that was totally 100% private, but at the same time was completely provable? I know, it sounds like a total contradiction, right? How can something be a secret and be verifiable? Well, that's the paradox we're going to unravel today, thanks to a really clever system called Harpo.
And that brings us right to the heart of the matter, what I like to call the privacy paradox. It's this constant tug of war we see everywhere in our digital lives. We want confidentiality, but we also need accountability.
So this is the big question. Can you really have it both ways? Can we actually build a system where a message's authenticity is provable, but without ever revealing who sent it or what it says? Stick with me, because the answer is not only yes, but it's pretty fascinating how it's done.
I mean, the conflict here is so clear, right? On one side, we need privacy. We need it for basic confidentiality, for our security. But on the other side, we also need trust. We need accountability when things go wrong. We need compliance for legal reasons. And for the longest time, you had to pick one. More privacy usually meant less trust, and vice versa.
But what if we could flip that on its head? What if we could build a new kind of trust, one that doesn't force us to give up our privacy to get it? This is where things get really, really interesting.
And this is where Harpo comes into the picture. It's a system that was built from the ground up to solve this exact problem. Think of it as a bridge, connecting the world of absolute privacy with the world of auditable trust.
So how on earth does Harpo pull off this magic trick? Well, the secret ingredient, the key to the whole thing, is a piece of cryptographic wizardry called a zero-knowledge proof. You might see it shortened to ZKP. And trust me, this is what changes the entire game.
So what's really going on under the hood? Let's pop it open and take a look at how Harpo actually uses these zero-knowledge proofs to create messages that are somehow both private and provable.
So what even is a zero-knowledge proof? Well, at its core, it's a way for me to prove to you that I know something, without telling you what that something is. You know, it's like me proving I know the password to a secret club without ever actually saying the password out loud. That's a ZKP in a nutshell.
In Harpo, it's actually a pretty simple three-step dance. First, you create your private message, but your identity is hidden or obfuscated. Step 2, the system creates a zero-knowledge proof. Now, this proof doesn't show the message contents. What it does prove is that the message you sent to the recipient is absolutely identical to a copy that was sent to an auditing authority. And finally, Step 3. Only that mathematical proof gets verified and stored for a potential audit, never the message itself.
And the result of all this is kind of mind-blowing. You end up with mathematical certainty that a real communication happened. You know an authority has a perfect copy if they ever need it for an audit. And all of this happens without anyone, not the system, not an observer, ever knowing who is talking or what they were talking about. It is truly verification without revelation.
Okay, this tech is super clever, no doubt, but why does it matter? You know, in the real world, what problems does this actually solve? Let's connect the dots here.
The power of Harpo really comes down to 3 rock-solid guarantees. 1. You can prove a message was genuinely sent by the person who claims to have sent it. 2. You can prove that the recipient and an auditor have the exact same copy. And 3. You can prove all of this without leaking a single shred of sensitive information. That combination is what builds this whole new foundation of digital trust.
And those guarantees unlock 2 incredibly powerful features. The first is non-repudiation, which is really just a fancy way of saying the sender can't later deny sending the message. The proof is undeniable. And the second is selective transparency. This means an authority can be in the loop for compliance, but they only get to see the message if and when it's absolutely necessary, without messing with the day-to-day privacy of your conversations.
So where would you actually use this stuff? Well, think about it. Private financial deals where you need proof of payment. Regulatory audits where a company has to prove it's following the rules without revealing all its trade secrets. Or even just internal company messaging that needs to be confidential but also legally compliant. The use cases are honestly huge.
You know, this isn't just about one cool system. This whole approach points to a massive shift in how we think about privacy and verification online. It's really a glimpse into the future of trust itself.
I think this quote from the original paper just sums it up perfectly. Private messages with public trust. In just 5 words, it captures the entire idea. It's all about building systems where we no longer have to choose between our privacy and our accountability. We can finally actually have both.
And that really leaves us with one final thought to take away from all this. As we all build and use more and more digital systems, this is the question we should be asking ourselves. How can we build both privacy and selective transparency into the tools we use every single day? Because as systems like Harpo show us, it's not an impossible dream anymore.